Sit back, relax, and enjoy the ride.
The best part of that, the ump throws him out, and then Zambrano turns around and goes, "No, you're out of here."
And Dallas won their first Super Bowl at the end of that season. WT is one step away from the Elite Eight. Bartolo Colon looking more like the Bears' nose tackle than the Sox pitcher. Two of WT's best are headed to the NFL. But right now, let's switch gears, talk a little bit about some high school basketball. Good evening, everyone. He's back. The umpires wearing special Memorial Day hats. That's cute. Both these teams have been playing football against each other since the 1960s. And watch quarterback Sage Rosenfels as he does his human pinball impression and ask me about my Seminoles, how they did.
How did your Seminoles do?
Well, thank you for asking. They did great. They beat Miami. And then White copies one of my moves. You must have seen me last weekend. This has been the most competitive, most physical, and most exciting series to watch in the second round. You've got Shane Battier's bloody face in Game 1, Derek Fisher's body check and ejection, along with Ron Artest getting elbowed in the neck and his confrontation with Kobe in Game 2. And then in Game 3, we had Yao Ming lost for the rest of the NBA playoffs with a broken foot, and Ron Artest getting ejected once again. It's 20-16 now as Warner hits Fitz once again, and he takes it all the way. Arizona goes up 23-20, and it's over, right? Wrong. Roethlisberger brings his boys back, and Santonio Holmes makes the catch of his life. While Amarillo has been immune to most of the national economy crunch, it has started to affect some of our local minor league teams. And it's T.O., so you know there's a celebration coming. I thought at first he was doing the river dance, but instead he does his Olympic track and field routine. I gave him a 9.0, but the Russian judge only gave him a 7. It's hard to impress the Russians. Good evening, everyone. I'm Brian Wilkerson. Lee Baker is a little under the weather, or he just wanted me to work so he could go home and watch Monday Night Football. And Johnson nearly runs over our photog, Brian Oliver. But Oliver stays in the pocket. Nice play for both Johnson and Oliver. 64 teams are fighting for one trophy and one honor. The other 63 will have to wait for next year. Congrats to him as well as our own Lee Baker for finishing second in the the senior net at 10 under. With only the kicker to beat, and that's why he's a kicker and not a track star. One of the Panhandle's proudest products, Evander Ziggy Hood, was drafted yesterday in the first round by the world champion Pittsburgh Steelers. So it's 3-1. Now in the fourth, we're trying to get our Aflac trivia answer, and Hank Blaylock rudely interrupts with his 12th bomb of the year. And watch these crazy kids. The guy in the red Rangers shirt slips, so he proceeds to tackle his buddy. And while the cameras are showing that, Marlon Byrd crushes one to the same spot. So here goes Slippy once again, falling down and missing the ball once again. That's what you get for wearing sandals at the ballpark. Scoreboard, please. In the Hogan flight, our own Lee Baker and his teammate Hank Leotard are tied for first, shooting 4 under. Looks like all that time away from work is finally paying off. Just kidding, boss. We love you, and I love my job. Now it's time for some Tiger on the 9th hole. This is a monster putt going for birdie. And yes, sir, Tiger can't believe it. Smile for me, Tiger. Thank you. Keith Noll to Charlie Martin will be a phrase we will all miss, but the story on these two buffs has just begun. Row Ranch in 5th, and yes, there I am. Winner, winner, chicken dinner, currently in 51st place. Shows what I know.
Of 52.
Of 52. No, of 100,000 people. No, it's not that many people. The Nazareth Swifts are no strangers to the state tournament. After winning back-to-back titles in 06 and 07, the boys are back, and they're not talking about winning the big one just yet. Instead, they are focused on Friday. Nicky Rowland was a part of the last 2 titles for the Swifts. He says those teams might have had more of an inside presence, but this year their perimeter play has really stepped it up. And now as a senior, I asked him what it would mean to win 3 state championships in 4 years.
A blessing.
Nazareth is the only area team left in the playoffs, so the players and coaches have their family, friends, and the entire Panhandle behind them.
It means a lot to me. It makes us.
The Swifts will open state tournament play this Friday against Leggett at 2 p.m. Brian Wilkerson, Pro News 7 Sports. Become the first NFL team to win 6 Super Bowls. Congratulations, but now that they have won more than Dallas, I officially hate the Steelers.
Likewise. Likewise. We could totally do without them.
Yeah, forget them now. And this is great. Manning hits Steve Smith over the middle, and he's practicing his dance moves for the offseason instead of holding on to the football. And when J. Curtis Sanford sat in the stands of the Rose Bowl in 1936, the Dallas Oil Man thought his city should also have a New Year's Day game. So the following year, he got Sammy Baugh and TCU to play Marquette in the stadium called the Cotton Bowl. Look at it again as Steve Ott lays a guy out and Ribeiro gets denied twice and the shot gets scooped up. That is not fair. I'm calling shenanigans. And the Philadelphia Eagles just embarrassed the Dallas Cowboys last night in the final pathetic chapter in what they called their 2008 season. But if you have a weak stomach, you should look away because LaRon McClain makes me sick, stiff-arming Ken Hamlin like he's nothing. And those dusters, they just can't seem to get. They're just getting slapped around like your Celtics were. You know what I mean?
Oh, you're so funny. Kind of like your Mavs are still fishing.
Maybe they are.
Way down the stream. Way down the stream.
Yeah, he likes that too. Marlon Byrd hitting it too short, and Derek Jeter makes a nice play, but Andrew Jones scores, so in your face. Texas is on top 2-0. And number one in our hearts as well as the senior net is our own Lee Baker. And too bad Lee won't see this. He went to bed at 6 so he could wake up for the early bird special. It's the Pittsburgh Steelers squaring off against the Arizona Cardinals. You've got the high-octane offense of Arizona with Kurt Warner, Larry Fitzgerald, and of course, Florida State's Anquan Boldin. But on the other side of the ball, it's the Steel Curtain defense featuring Troy Polamalu, James Harrison, and of course, Florida State's Bryant McFadden.